Okay. YouTube. All right. Is it like this? No. What is it focused on? There we go. Oh, it's a 16-minute video. Okay. Let's watch it. This is, oh yeah, sorry. This is AI wrote an Oreo cake recipe. Is it any good? It's very fascinating, interesting concept. Oh, there is still back. Where is that coming from? Okay. Oh, right. YouTube sound. There we go. It's been a while since we've done this. Can you update the game or the category to just chatting? Thank you. Appreciate it. Cannot reach my Stream Deck from here. It is a complication. Need like a Pele Stream Deck where I can use it while she's laying here. You're still just purring up a storm, aren't you? Oh. Okay, let's try this again.
Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Anne Reardon, and in this episode I'm going to be getting AI to write a brand new recipe for us, and then I will bake it. I'll be using a GPT.
One more thing, sorry. I will not pause it this much. But here's the video link, as always. Support the creator. This is by How to Cook That. I'm not familiar with this channel, but 4.85 million subscribers, so they're definitely doing something right.
3 AI text generator. I won't go into details of how that works, but basically it has been trained using hundreds of billions of data sources, and based on that it then writes unique human-like text. For example, if I ask it to write a news story called The $1 Million Dog, and in the brief I say Donald Trump spends $1 million buying a
I'll turn it up a little bit.
rare breed of dog. Fix that mistake, zoom back out and click write for me. And it automatically starts writing a news article all about a Tibetan Mastiff named Big.
I've seen, oh, what was it? Like AI Quest or something like that. It's like a browser-based thing similar to this. It's really interesting. But you can, it's supposed to, it doesn't work very well, but the idea is similar, but you can do it for like D&D campaigns or something like that, to have it give you like prompts and backgrounds or like adventures, or even like create character backgrounds, which is a really interesting idea. I mean, I'm sure the technology will be improving over time. So maybe it'll get to the point where it'll be helpful.
That Trump bought off
Yeah,
a Chinese
it sounds very similar to that.
And at the bottom there it says, when asked why he would spend so much on the dog, Trump responded with,
"I'm very rich."
Now, we know that that particular article has not been plagiarized from elsewhere on the internet because the topic is totally not true. I just made it up. But even when I gave GPT-3 more factual topics like the upcoming Australian election, it instantly wrote an article that sounded very convincing, and I copied and pasted the text into a plagiarism checker, and it came up as 100% unique and not plagiarized. Now, before you get too excited thinking, it could write all my assignments for me, it could do my work for me. 100% unique does not mean 100% true. It does not mean it's accurate. In that political article I told you about, it quoted a professor saying what he thought the outcome of the upcoming election would be. Well, when I Googled that professor, I could not find him at the university they said he was from at all. The only professor by that name I could find in Australia has actually passed away 40 years ago. So either AI can talk to the dead or it's totally made up the quote. And I did also search the exact
50-50.
quote and could not
Could be
find
either.
it anywhere. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, doesn't mean he didn't say that before he passed away about a different election, but it's definitely not accurate because he's not talking about an election that's yet to come. So I thought, let's put it to the test and see how it goes writing a recipe, because recipes are quite nuanced. It's not just sounding how a recipe should sound.
This definitely sounds like it's going to be a disaster, but I am along for the ride.
Actually the combination of different ingredients and the amounts of those ingredients all
Don't know.
affect the outcome.
Probably not in our lifetimes, but I don't know. I could see there being some technology that claims to do that. Like upload somebody that's deceased's brain and reads their weight, I don't know, their neural patterns, remnants of it, and then it's like, this is what they would have said if asked this question or if they were alive today.
Now, I must admit the first two recipes it spat out were just useless. Like, one of them said I should make jelly by mixing together sugar and water and leaving it overnight to set. Well, I think anyone, even a non-baker, is going to know that sugar and water is not going to set into a jelly. That doesn't work. I nearly gave up, but on the third attempt, it spat out.
Did you
this
try it?
recipe for a super moist giant
Maybe the
Oreo
AI knows
cake.
something you don't.
Here's how it described it in its introduction.
Sure, it takes a fair bit of time to assemble super moist giant Oreo cake recipe and costs a pretty penny. But it's big enough to feed 20 people
Dang,
and
that's a big
tastes so good
cake.
that all eyes will be on you as soon as you serve it.
Well,
I mean, I don't
think
doubt
we
that.
should follow the AI's directions.
That all sounds
and
accurate.
Make the cake and see what happens.
1 box Devil's Food Cake Mix or 20 cups.
This is definitely not equal to 20 cups, but I'm just going to go with the 1 box and see what happens.
It's a great start. It's like if it said 1 egg or 10 apples. Like, that would be quite the interesting recipe.
2.5 cup whipping cream, divided in half plus 2 tablespoons, divided in half. 1 x 12 ounces packaged semi-sweet chocolate morsels. 1.5 x 12 ounces packaged white chocolate morsels. 20
So much
Oreo
chocolate.
cookies, crushed into small pieces. 10 chocolate-covered Oreo cookies,
gosh.
chopped into chunks and divided in half.
Why?
20 sticks of gum, divided in half.
Reading ahead in the recipe, I
No.
can see that it also asks for sugar,
No,
some butter, vanilla,
not
more
gum.
sugar, extra butter, and even some chocolate-coated mints.
Directions. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Prepare 2 9-inch round cake pans by spraying them with cooking spray.
I mean,
or
the
coat
amount of
them with
butter and sugar
flour,
seems right,
whichever you prefer.
given
In a separate
American
bowl,
baking
beat 2.5
recipes.
cups heavy whipping cream and half cup sugar
I mean, I'm
together until the
more
whipped
guilty of
cream
that than
forms
anyone.
stiff peaks and then set it aside.
That's all of our cream that we're tipping in, so I'm not sure why the ingredients said to divide it in half. We'll whip that together with the sugar. There we go.
I mean, it's
In a
edible.
large mixing bowl, combine the cake mix, 1 cup of the heavy whipping cream, and 4 and
Like, even if the recipe's ridiculous, it's impressive that it didn't ask you to put in, like, a fork or something. Like, it's smart enough to actually know what things are edible and food-like so far. Could be jumping ahead of it, but
and
we'll
a half
see.
tablespoons of butter.
We've already used all the cream that it listed in the ingredients, so I'll just have to get another cupful of cream, add that in with the cake mix. Just as well we only have the 1 box of cake mix and not 20 cups, so there's no way that this
That's a
would
lot
be
of,
enough
that's all
liquid.
butter,
Mix
right?
until the
That's a lot of
ingredients
butter.
form a thick batter.
It's very, very thick for a cake.
Can I just eat that?
And I think it's kind of cheating that
It looks
AI
delicious.
had to use a cake mix to make a cake. But anyway.
Add 3/4 of the chocolate morsels and 3/4 of the white chocolate morsels to the batter.
We have more chocolate chips that we've added in than we have cake batter. This will definitely not be a fluffy cake.
Pour it into one of the prepared pans.
Maybe you don't need to
Place
cook
them
it.
in your preheated oven for 30
Oh.
minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. Take the cake out
Hey,
of
it
the
knows
oven
about
and
the
place it on a
toothpick.
cooling rack
Let's
for about
go.
10 minutes to cool slightly.
There's just no way you could tip that onto a cooling rack without it just falling apart. There is so much melted chocolate in it. I think I just need to leave them to cool in the tin, let that chocolate set before we have any chance of tipping them out. What's next?
Enter half of the crushed Oreos and the other half of the chocolate-covered Oreos into a food processor. Or you could also use an
Are covered Oreo? Like what? Those do not look like Oreos to me. I didn't see what the packaging was. Are those chocolate covered Oreos? Is that a thing? Why are they sticks? I don't think I've seen those before. Maybe I'm just behind on my Oreo products.
electric mixer with a
Either way,
paddle
it's
attachment.
not a big deal.
That's half of each of those.
Process this mixture until it forms crumbs or shavings. Remove these crumbs from your food processor and set them
Oreos.
aside. Mix half cup whipping cream, 2 tablespoons sugar, half teaspoon vanilla extract, and half tablespoon butter in a
I mean,
medium
those
size
proportions
bowl.
don't seem that
Mix
off.
until stiff peaks form
not
and
like you're
set this
putting in
whipped
more
cream frosting aside.
Vanilla than sugar.
This is like whipped cream with little lumps of butter in it. Can you see those?
In a separate bowl, mix the remaining half of the Oreos and cream until they form a crumbly paste.
We don't have any cream left, AI, so I don't even know how much to use.
Add the remaining half of your chocolate morsels, white chocolate morsels, and half a cup whipping cream to this
Okay.
mixture.
This is
Came
not a
back to
half because it told me to use 3/4 in the cake mix, so there's only a quarter left. I don't know why I expected AI to get the maths calculations correct, but I guess it is a text generator, so it is just
Yeah, I
writing
feel
what
like-
it thinks sounds right.
Like, honestly, that's impressive that it remembered to come back and use them. Like, yeah, obviously there's problems there, but especially if it was not created to form recipes, I feel like this is actually super impressive.
Rather than actually doing calculations on ingredients.
Mix until the crushed Oreos are soft and creamy.
Now that these are cooled, they are pretty solid. More like a cookie than a cake. Take off the paper. Listen to this. Wow,
Does
that's
not look
definitely not a super
appetizing.
moist cake, but let me assemble it anyway.
Invert it onto a serving platter. Sprinkle the Oreo crust mixture over it in a swirling pattern.
Interesting.
Pile about a quarter of the chopped Oreos, quarter cup chopped chocolate-covered Oreos, and quarter cup of chopped chocolate-covered mince into a small bowl.
There are no Oreos left. We used half in the food processor and then the rest in the cream with the chocolate chips. But there was 20 to start with, so a quarter would be 5 chopped Oreos. I'll just get some more. And a quarter of a cup of chocolate-coated Oreos.
So much chocolate in this.
Now for mince. I wasn't sure if it...
Like, just Oreos alone, we're already up to 25 Oreos. That is an absurd number of Oreos. Along with the chocolate-covered Oreos. Like an entire bag of semi-sweet and white chocolate chocolate chips. This is
meant
crazy.
the gum that was on the ingredients list, but they're not chocolate-coated. So I'll use some chopped after dinner mince instead.
Stir them together until they form an even layer that covers one side of your cake.
What?
What does that even mean?
Okay, that's the first step that
Are
I'm
we
like
supposed to tip them
really
on the
confused
cake?
by.
Let's do that.
Place the second cake pan on top of this layer, ensuring that they are perfectly aligned. Cover the entire cake with the whipped cream frosting.
This is the whipped cream and sugar that we made right at the very beginning. But we also have one that has lumps of butter in it and one that was made from Oreos and chocolate chips and cream. And I'm not sure which one the AI meant. To be honest, I get the impression the AI doesn't know which one they meant either. I chose this one simply because there was lots of it and it has to cover the whole cake.
Top this frosting with a piece of gum to serve as an additional decoration and to suggest the idea of sticking several slices of cake together.
So we have our cake
Okay.
and quite a
Naturally.
bit of leftover stuff that it's asked us to make, but
Is
it
that the
never
end of the
actually
recipe?
called for in
Okay.
the assembly. Or it just listed way too much of it in the ingredients, way more than we needed. But let's see how it
Just gave a reason for why we're sticking a piece of gum on there. It's like, even it knew that it was ridiculous, and it just on the spot after it said it was like, yeah, it's about sticking pieces of cake together. Yeah, that is an incredible touch.
tastes. Before you taste it, I thought I'd get AI to introduce you both. So let's start
no.
with you, Dave.
Dave Reardon, an Australian professional surfer who was the world surfing champion in 1974 and 1975. In 1994, when he attempted to break the record for surfing's longest ride at Cowabunga Corner at Burling Heads, his surfboard snapped just meters from shore and he almost drowned.
Wow.
Okay,
He was
only
rescued
almost
after
drowned.
a 20-minute struggle with a 3-meter great white shark.
Wow. What a day.
Dang. That's an
remember it
impressive
well.
story.
A 20-minute struggle with a great white shark. That's impressive.
I was, I had to slap
That
that
is
shark around,
incredible.
slap it like Will Smith. I'm like an old school surfing dude.
All right, Matt, you ready for your intro?
Yep, I'm ready.
I did tell it was your birthday, but I told it nothing else about you.
Okay.
Happy 18th birthday, Matthew. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we're wishing you many more happy birthdays to come. Dash. Matthew Reardon is an amazing
Dash.
person who goes above and beyond to give back to his local community.
Wow.
He's currently in college studying computer science and sociology.
For sure.
Next month he will be running for president of the United States.
It's an impressive transition.
Get elected.
Wow. That was, there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's all very, very exciting. And
He's
happening
running
through
for
the week.
president.
I'd
I mean,
Yeah,
technically, can't anyone run for president? Doesn't mean you're going to get on the ballot. I don't know how that works. I feel like you just have to fill out a form and like send it to the U.S. I don't know, national government or something. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, I guess I assume they're in the U.S. Oh, they're Australian. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, that complicates it a little bit. You might run into some issues. Yeah. I think you have to be born on U.S. soil as a U.S. citizen and over 35. Or is it 35? I think it's 35. Something like that. Yeah, never mind. If they're Australian, that's really funny.
That's like there's millions of it. If you would vote for Matt, give a thumbs up.
What are your expectations for the cake?
Oh, well, both of us were pretty awesome descriptions.
Sharks.
I
It's
reckon
gonna be
the cake's,
amazing.
yeah, the cake's going to be pretty awesome.
This cake that flew into space and was made by aliens and is now returned to Earth on an asteroid is going to be the greatest cake of all time.
Yes.
Oh,
Does it even cut? Okay, not
It's
really.
so solid.
wow, it's a crunchy cake. Was that
This would be
Yeah,
terrifying
it's
to eat
Is that
if you
a piece
didn't
of
know.
extra or something? Okay. Oh man.
Actually, it looks pretty good. Like, it's a lot of chocolate.
That's so much filling stuff.
It's like it looks a bit like a cave in the middle of.
It's like a melted candy bowl.
Well, I was gonna say
It's like someone had a bunch of chocolate that they unwrapped and then left out on the patio on a hot summer day, and it just melted together. They decided to call it a cake.
a cake, but in the middle of some sort of rocky sediment, there are bits and pieces of chocolate.
Oh,
There doesn't seem to be too much kind of holding the top and the bottom. There's just like a sedimentary rock in between
Just
that is
cookies.
there.
Just cookies.
Is there even any cake in it? Or is it just lumps of chocolate?
There's a whole box of cake mix.
Really? Wow. I would not have picked that because it's not like holding itself together. It's just kind of like a solid block of chocolatey stuff. But it does taste alright.
That was better than the hacks. It's kind of like AI versus 5 Minute Crafts, and AI won.
Don't forget your piece of gum.
You do it, birthday boy.
Okay.
How is it?
Adds so much to the flavour.
Gum.
Ew.
Why did it tell you to put a
Chocolate
piece of
and
gum
gum.
in it?
Top this frosting with a piece of gum to serve as an additional decoration and to suggest the idea of sticking several slices of cake together.
Well, okay.
Mission accomplished.
Except the cake didn't stick together at all. It split in half as soon as I served it.
I also asked AI to write some jokes for you about cake.
Oh
What
boy.
did one AI say to another AI?
I don't know. What did one AI say to another AI?
Death to all humans.
Ah.
How do you make a cheesecake? One day at a time.
Was that was that the joke?
See.
Okay.
I think AI can do comedy
No.
because it's too complicated. It's too nuanced.
There's nothing new.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's got to make
I
sense.
feel like anyone ever tries to make a comedy AI is going to be a disaster. That's got to be one of the hardest things to actually figure out. Because comedy requires so much cultural context and just like nuance and abstract ideas. There's no way that's going to be a thing anytime soon.
Okay, are you ready?
AI is all over the globe right now going, one day at a time.
Are you ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay, baby.
One day, a cake walked into a bar. The bartender said, "What's the occasion?" "Oh, just wanted to come in for a drink," replied the cake. The cake looked really
Oh, I
sad.
thought that was the end. Oh, sad cake getting called out for wanting a drink.
I made us laugh.
Yeah.
It was kind of a sad story, though. Yeah. It's like a lonely alcoholic cake. Lemon raisin. Hey, Matt.
Yes, Dad?
Have you got Mum anything for Mother's Day? Because Mother's Day is coming very soon.
I don't have Mum anything for Mother's Day.
You should consider getting her this cookbook.
Wow, that looks like a cool cookbook. I bet she doesn't have one of those.
That's right. And did you know that for the next 1 week only,
Interesting.
you can go to the publisher's website and get 50% off?
50%. That's a good discount.
Good discount. Guess how many recipes are written by AI? None recipes.
None.
Wow, that's not a lot of recipes.
And as well as that,
I want
if
an
you
entire
are in Australia
AI recipe
and
cookbook
you
now,
want
though.
this, but you want a signed copy of it, and you want the novel as well, you can go and get a bundle signed by Anne and myself for a really good discount from our website, How to Cook That. So that's pretty good.
That is pretty
I
good.
know nothing
You should
about this
also
channel, so I have no idea
And
what
if
the
you are in
other
Australia as
actual
well,
recipes
particularly
look
in
like.
Melbourne, on May the 3rd, you can come and see Anne. We're doing an event, and
Because they're very clearly Australian
So
now.
we'd love to see you there. It'll be really good. Look after your mum for Mother's Day. It's going to be so good. All the details for all those deals are below. Bye.
Back to you, Mum.
Happy birthday, Matt, and with thanks to my wonderful patrons, you guys
All right.
are incredible.
So
If you
that
liked
was
this video, let
AI
the
wrote an Oreo
algorithm
cake
know
recipe.
by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and watching more episodes. Make it a great week, and I'll
So if anyone wants to try the cake, let me know how it is. It would be fun. Maybe be more AI recipes in the future. Someone can start to figure that out. Okay, baby. Cat check. She is... I think she is fast asleep. The purring did stop. Actually, no, it didn't. She's still purring a little bit. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for sharing that. I did enjoy that. I really think just like how quickly the internet took over or like cell phones kind of became commonplace. I really feel like AI is like on the verge of actually just doing all this stuff incredibly well. So I am enjoying kind of the ways that it fails right now, but I think it'll also be interesting like 10 years from now, see like all the things that AI actually can do properly. Maybe not writing food recipes quite yet, but I think there will be a lot of things that it has kind of mostly figured out. Hi. You comfy? Uh-oh. Did you find something to play with? You woke up in an instant. You were so asleep. You saw that cord and you were just wide awake. Back to sleep. Okay. All right. Well, since Pele's still on us, we could something I've been wanting to do for a little while. Hopefully it'll be fun.